Good morning, HBFJ speaking. Oh, hi Craig, you after Rob? Okay, I'll put you through.
Hello?
Hello Rob, I've got Craig on the phone.
Yeah, put him through.
Thank you.
G'day Craig. How you going? Right. You want to do what? Yep, no problems. Yep, no, we can do that. How much boost do you want to run? Okay. Yep, no worries, mate. When are you going to drop it down? All right, I'll let you know as soon as it gets here. Okay, mate. Talk to you later. Oh man, I just got off the phone to Craig TRYHRD.
Yeah.
And you're not going to believe it, mate. He wants to turn the tyres at 170, so he's dropping the car down first to give it a tune up. So he's not going to the summer nets apparently.
Okay, so he just wants a
Yeah.
tune for the street.
Tune for the street so that he can.
That's a lot of car for the
his
street.
words were, "I want to smoke him at 170."
So he hasn't changed a bit, has he?
He's a brave man. He's a lunatic.
Holy shit! So we're gonna set it all and.
Yeah, he's fitted wastegates on it and that. So yeah,
You'd do that at £10 a boost, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Anyway, there
all
you
right.
go. What did you want?
I don't know. I think it was just a break, mate. That's good. How you going? Look, just finishing unwrapping the twin turbo kit for this VE. I'm just about to fit. Just basically getting everything out, making sure everything's there and nothing's missing. So far so good. These are just the last little boost pipes that I'm unwrapping. As you can see, I've got it all laid out here. It's all the turbos and wastegates and manifolds and bits and pieces. You might notice you don't have any exhaust manifolds as such sitting on the bench. Reason being, what it does is it uses the factory exhaust manifold, okay, and this little adapter mounts to the manifold, and the turbo then sits underneath, okay, and that just mounts straight to the exhaust manifold. So nice and simple, simple to fit. The only problem that they have is that the turbos now sit too low. So when I say too low, they sit below the oil level of the car, of the engine. Now this is why they provide us with an electric pump that pumps the oil as it comes back through the turbo. It gets caught and get pumped back into the engine, purely because most turbo kits rely on gravity to drop it straight back into the sump, but because these sit lower, then they use a pump, pumps it straight back into the sump itself. So yeah, we've got the pump, a lock off so that when the car is stationary, the oil doesn't drip back into the turbos and fill up the intakes and starts blowing a lot of smoke. Now, as you can see, real nice stainless cast dump pipes, external wastegates that sit on, mount to the adapter here, and then come back into the dump. So it's nice, simple, and effective design. Yeah, now, look, intercooler we've got twin in, single out. So yeah, the two turbos feed into the bottom, it comes out, and then you have the boost pipe that goes to the throttle body. This is all the silicon hose. Yeah, crossover pipes for the turbos that feed to the intakes and to the bottom of the intercooler. And we've got all our nuts and bolts and fittings and cable ties and washers. So for those of you who have ever done Lego, which I'm due to be doing soon because Christmas is coming, and with the kids, they all get me to do the Lego because I can do it the fastest. This is like one huge Lego kit. So if you can't do Lego, don't even attempt fitting a kit like this.
Hey George, how's it going?
Yeah, all right. I've pretty much got everything out, almost ready to start.
Yeah, it looks like a reasonable kit.
Yeah, no, it's...
Oh, you got some bolts and...
Yeah, I'll work it out, see where it all goes.
Did you get any instructions with it?
No.
No, no instructions? Sure, God, there's got to be instructions with it.
Instructions? What are they?
It's got to be. It's got to be in the box.
All right, what are you looking for? Ah, that.
Yes.
Instructions.
You wally.
I don't need instructions.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
These will slow me down. All right, look, I'll give you a bit of a brief history, as brief as I can keep it, history on TRYHRD, because look, a lot has happened in the 6 or so years that it's being built. When I arrived at HPF, which would be 4.5 years ago now, my very first job was basically to assemble TRYHRD's engine. Reason being, the year before, the summer nets, that year, I think it would have been 2004, something like that, the very first engine that was built had cast iron block, dart and sleeves. Now, for those of you who know, dart and sleeve, you have to basically gut the block in order to get them in there. They did, but as soon as you started making any sort of power, the block almost split in half. So the V almost fell apart. You know, that was at around 1,000 horsepower mark. So when I got here, we actually we got another cast iron block, which was all that was available at the time. Put it together, you know, started running some boosts. We had head gasket problems. Trying to keep the heads down was an issue. We overcame all that. You know, got them to seal. Started making some real sort of grunt. Now back then, summer nats was well, horsepower heroes had to be done on pump fuel. So 98 octane fuel, we were stretching the limits of the car, trying to get as much boost in as we could. November that year, it fried a piston, so we had to pull it all down. Rob and myself stayed here day and night until the car was built, and it was only ready the Friday. So the summer nat started on the Thursday, we had it ready on the Friday. Went up there and it made its 1,300 odd rear wheel horsepower. On its second run, moved one of the fuel rails and jarred the fuel system, and one of the O-rings popped out of the injector, spraying fuel all over the engine, and it went up in a ball of flames. Quite spectacular if you were there and saw it. For myself, I broke out in a sweat instantly, and I'm sure Rob did too. You know, that sort of put a little bit of a dampener on the highest horsepower that we'd seen at the summer nats. But we repaired the fuel rails and intake manifold. The block itself was holding out. We did, in the end, start pushing the limits again, and the block split. You you know, the block wasn't designed. I think the block's designed for 500 odd horsepower, not the 1500 that we were making. After that, we actually got to a point where, you know, they made a motorsport block, which is the LSX block, which is in it at the moment. And someone that's actually changed the rules of the horsepower heroes. It changed from pump fuel to unlimited fuel. The only thing you couldn't use was nitrous. We had the car set up for 98. We actually ran a good fuel and leaned on, you know, a good block and managed to make the 1895 real horse, which is, you know, the first of, you know, I've seen of a big block in Australia, so a small block I should say. There was only one other car that made anywhere near that, and that was a big block twin turbo. So we're quite proud of our achievement. Craig should be, because he has spent a lot of time, a lot of money on this car, and we're glad to see that it's paying dividends for him and starting to do what he wants. So we'll get it to a point where he can drive it and have some fun. He's brought it into us. We're basically just finishing things off. Yeah, and our job is just basically to check over it, make sure everything's tight, everything's been put together properly, and then do some final tuning. The tuning, because Craig's just put new wastegates on it. It never actually had wastegates. It always worked off blow-off valves. So now trying to get the boost down is made new manifolds with wastegates. It's a 427 with two T100 turbos on it. So big baby turbos, with a water to air intercooler system, which is this section here. You can only see a third of it sticking out the top, but it's actually got 8 radiators, well, radiator cores that pass cold water through them, and then the air passes through that and goes into the engine, which is quite efficient actually. It sort of gets the air temps down to 0 to 10 degrees from approximately 120 degrees C. Yeah, look, everything's custom built, custom manifold. You know, you can see a lot of the work there, but I'll tell you what, if you come down the back, I'll show you where the rest of the work is. All right, well, this is the business end of the intercooler. This here is actually what's called an ice chest. Inside the ice chest, we have actually 2 big radiator cores. What happens is you actually fill the bottom section up with water, you pack the top with ice, and these spray bars over the top actually pour the water over the ice. Now, as the water cools the radiator cores, there's 4 pumps here and actually 4 pumps under the car that pass the water over the radiator cores and then pump that out to the front. What you can see here, all the blue lines are actually cold water, the red ones are the warm water as it comes out through from the front intercooler back into the ice chest, and it's circulated right around the car. Now there's big lines that run right the length of the car that take all the water to and from. So it's a fair old engineering feat. Richard from ARE did a fantastic job, a lot of fabrication. Here we've got the dry sump tank. Water overflow for the intercooler, and 2 MagnaFuel 750 fuel pumps with 1 big surge tank, all being crammed into the boot area. This is only the top half that you see. It actually protrudes out just as far underneath. A lot of work. It was first of its kind, well, of its magnitude to be built, so no one really knew how well it would work. We've had the opportunity to test it, and we've got, you know, all our sensors in there, so we know exactly how cold the water gets, and we can keep it consistent on the dyno when trying to make big horsepower. Right, look, I've finally got all the turbos and manifolds and dump pipes assembled. I just thought I'd show you quickly before I put them on the car, because once they're on there, you don't see a great deal of it. Quite interesting to see the turbos all assembled. You see all the wastegate, you know, and the little manifolds and dumps all together. Just thought I'd sort of run through the wastegate part of the turbo and how it controls the boost. Look, this is what's called a teal wastegate, external gate. It's got a valve inside here, okay, with a diaphragm in there. So we've got a boost port underneath the diaphragm. So when we get our desired boost, and the boost is desired by the spring tension on top of the diaphragm, as soon as we get enough boost in there and it overcomes the spring, it actually lifts this seat and allows the gases to flow through, bypassing the turbo and exhaust housing and going straight into the dump pipe. Now, by doing that, we actually are slowing the turbine speed of the turbo and therefore controlling boost. Now, when the boost on the compressor side drops, then the spring pushes back down and allows the gases back through the exhaust housing. So what we're doing effectively is bypassing the gas and heat from the turbo and allowing the turbo to slow down, therefore controlling boost. So look, this is quite a good system. You can see exactly how it all flows through. Just thought I'd sort of touch on that. So for those of you who don't know, that's how it all works.
What we've got here is TRYHRD, last year's Horsepower Heroes Summernats winner. What we did last year was we didn't run any wastegates controlling the boost pressure and relied on the blow-off valves to release boost pressure out of the intake, running the turbos flat out all the time and finding it very hard to control boost accurately. And when we tried to run more boost last year, we actually weren't able to achieve it because the way that it was set up. So what we've done now is fitted wastegates which go into the exhaust manifold, and actually when the wastegates open, the exhaust gases get to bypass the turbo, and so the turbo slows down, reducing boost pressure, and much more accurate, much easier to control. The way we do it is with the boost control solenoid here. It puts boost pressure onto the back of the diaphragm, increasing boost to whatever amount we predetermine in the Autronic. We've got a switch on the dash that gives him 3 different boost settings. Boost setting A switches that valve off completely and runs it on spring pressure. So whatever the springs are set at, for example in this case they're 15 pound, then he'll have 15 pound of boost pressure. When we pulse this valve via the Autronic, we can effectively put pressure on the back of the diaphragm and increase the boost by that much pressure. In the Autronic, we can have 2 different set points, so effectively he's got 3 total set points that he can choose between at any one time. It's all wired up, it's all hooked up, and we're ready to go. So we were just doing a run, and halfway through the run, the engine's just shut down, no power, everything switched off, dash lights went out, everything. I've hit the kill switch and gone and checked at the battery and found there's a dead short, and when you touch the terminal on the battery, it sparks, and we've just been tracing it and I found it to be the alternator here. It's died internally and shorted out, and we're yet to see exactly how much damage it's caused. But at this moment we need to get a new alternator before we can go any further.
All right, well it's 6 o'clock on a Friday night. Just got the car running, got the turbos on, got everything fitted, and you know basically last things to go on is the front bar and the under tray. But we don't do that till after it's been finished tuned, make sure everything else is right. I just thought last chance to show you all how it all fits up and where it all sits. Like you saw it on the bench before, you can't see a great deal of it now. So we've got the turbos here sitting beside the bell housing, all tucked up nice and neatly. Dump pipes going back to the cap back, which is a twin 3-inch cap back. All the oil lines, as I said earlier, These oil lines go back to the pump, which gets pumped back into the top of the engine. So you can see the turbos sit nice and low, which they have to get them in and you know, keep it hidden. So yeah, we've got those. We've got the air intakes that sort of run around and up to the front, and you'll see the intercooler, you know, twin in at the bottom and single out. So look, it's a fair job. You know, we've done it in reasonable time. The boys won't be happy because they've got to tune tomorrow, but yeah, look, it's approximately a two and a half day job. We've got it done in just under 2 days. Look, there's still a few hours of tuning, so I'll show you what it looks like from the top. All right, so this is the kit from up top. You can't see a great deal. Only thing you see is the boost pipe feeding in, and over on the other side there's a oil lock off. So that locks off all the oil that goes to the turbos, so it doesn't keep draining in. Front we've got the trans cooler for the transmission. Hopefully that'll be enough to keep the transmission cool with the power that this is going to produce. So we'll get it on the dyno and see what it does tomorrow.
Hey Marty, just seen Rob take on that VE Twin Turbo, how'd it go?
Yeah, no, come up really good. Made about 50% more torque.
Killer.
And 120 kilowatts more power on 7 pounder boost.
That should do a mean skid.
It should do a mean skid. We kept the boost low so just to see how the 6-speed auto goes with it, because we haven't really tried one of them with the turbos yet.
Okay.
So we'll see how it goes.
Dynograph?
Yep. There you go.
Rock on. Thanks mate.
No worries, bye.
Yeah, so the boys were just washing the Twin Turbo VE project, and I thought I couldn't help myself. I just had to take the keys and take it for a spin, and so far I'm pretty impressed. I mean, the throttle response straight away is so different. Visually, you know, as the boys said, under the bonnet doesn't look too different, but I can tell you when you start putting your right foot down, you can feel those and hear those turbos come in, and she pushes you back in the seat all right. But yeah, no, it seems like a pretty successful kit, and I suppose the customer will have a smile from ear to ear, that's for sure.